to be closer to Simon's parents, Dawn and Gail,
What? What's up, everyone? Today we are looking at some of the most twisted crimes ever caught on camera. Let's get into it.
really poisoned her ex-husband's entire family using the world's deadliest mushroom just because he rejected her, or was this all just a tragic accident? Because after hearing this story, you tell me her name's Erin Scudder, she's 30, just finished school, and she meets this man named Simon Patterson, and they fall in love hard. Like, take his last name, have a baby boy. Think this is forever kind of hard. But it gets bad fast, and I mean fast. One day they mid-road trip across Australia with their baby, and they get into this massive fight, and Erin just leaves. She leaves Simon, she leaves her baby, and just takes herself home. And when Simon finally gets back, she tells him, you can sleep in the car, I'm staying in the house. And Simon, this man, just accepts it. But like so many toxic couples do, they get back together. They move to this quiet little town called Kunara, don't ask me how to pronounce that, to be closer to Simon's parents, Dawn and Gail,
What?
Because they needed help with the baby, because clearly these two couldn't figure it out themselves. And also, Erin's pregnant again, but this time with a daughter, and for a hot minute, it looked like they finally got their act together. And not to spoil, but they split up again, only this time, Simon filed for his taxes as single, which legally means...
Oh, I thought you meant like filed the divorce papers.
That his money is his, and her money is hers. So now, Erin has to apply for child support, because she still has 2 kids to feed. And you want to know what the court told Simon to pay? Are you sitting down? Because this is going to make you scream. $42 per month. Like, that's literally less than a grocery trip. And then to make it...
You're telling me he got to pay child support per month for her kids? That's less than what he paid for groceries. Oh, wow.
Their son is sick, like surgery level sick, and so Erin messages Simon asking if he can help with any bills. This man really responds with, the Department of Human Services instructed me not to pay you anything for the kids from now on. So I'm sorry, but I cannot pay that, I'm afraid. What's the actual audacity? And Erin, she is heated, but here's one thing. It wasn't even about the money for her. This woman had inherited $2 million when her parents passed away, so she doesn't need his support. It was about the...
Hold up. So, you got the money, keep your kids alive, but why you still on board with this man?
Went to house. She was the one who bought their house. She gave money to Simon's siblings so they could buy their house. This woman was literally funding their entire family. So now watching Simon refuse to help with their children after everything she had done to his family, to her it wasn't just disrespect, it was straight up betrayal. And I honestly think the biggest stab in the heart was the fact that Simon's family started treating her like a stranger. This is all alleged, but this is how she said she felt. Erin claims that she used to be very close to them. She used to be an atheist, but then became religious just to fit in with his family. And now she's not even invited to his mother's 70th birthday party. And I'm not in her head, but if you line everything up, this is probably when Erin started seriously thinking about getting rid of her ex-husband. Because now she's online. She's hanging around a whole bunch of true crime communities, which is red flag number 1. She's venting about her anger.
Whoa. We didn't skip past that. You saying she was trying to find a way to get rid of him, and you trying to still get more out of him, or you trying to do something more?
And saying things like, I'm sick of this shit, I want nothing to do with them. But then she starts talking about this food dehydrator that she bought, which isn't weird by itself. But what she's using it for is absolutely sus. She said she had been dehydrating mushrooms, grinding them into a fine powder, and mixing it into chocolate brownies for her kids. And she's bragging about how the kids had no idea. And I think that's when the idea of how to...
This might be some type of theory I'm thinking, but what if she actually do the same thing she did with her kid with the brownie, right? And she put some type of temperament into the brownie, mush them up, and she served it to her ex-husband, and her ex-husband died from that. I didn't see this, so let's see if I'm right.
Started forming. She starts browsing this website called iNaturalist, and it's supposed to be for checking wild mushrooms, but Erin is using it to check if death cap mushrooms grow near her. Death caps is one of the most toxic fungi on this planet. One bite and your liver and kidneys start shutting down within days. She ended up getting a hold of it, and she starts dehydrating them, turning them into a fine powder, and sprinkles it all over the food. But there's one problem. Simon will not come to dinner if she invites him. So do you want to know what she does instead? instead, she makes up this lie and tells the entire family that she has cancer and that she needs to sit down with everybody and figure out how to break the news to the kids. Using cancer as bait is honestly insane. Simon did not want to go to that dinner. He said that he was way too uncomfortable given the situation that they were in, but his mother and father and his aunt and uncle ended up going. They all sit down at the table and Erin serves everybody beef Wellington on gray plates except for herself. She's eating off an orange plate. And within hours, all 4 of them get rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with severe liver failure. Doctors...
Severe liver failure? Oh my god. This girl is taking it too far. How far are you going for?
Everything, even attempting liver transplants, but both Simon's mom and dad passed away, as well as Simon's aunt. His uncle luckily survived, but he was critically ill for weeks. Meanwhile, Erin is at home trying to hide all of the evidence like some criminal mastermind. She throws away the food dehydrator, and when investigators question her, she pretends that it was on an accident and acts like she never even owned a food dehydrator to begin with. But here's where she gets caught. Police literally had surveillance footage of her dumping out the food dehydrator in a dumpster nearby. They even found images on her tablet of all the death cap mushrooms she had purchased. They even found all the messages where she told her Facebook friends that she had been dehydrating mushrooms to hide it in the food for her children. And on top of that, her search history was filled with death cap mushrooms and researching what would happen if someone ate them. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she was absolutely cooked. She got arrested in 2023 and got found guilty 2 years after at the age of 50. So tell me, do you think this was a tragic accident or calculated murder? Because after all of that evidence, I think we know the answer. Mom gives birth in secret, and then she throws her baby in the dumpster. So the girl...
I thought the mushroom woman was worse. Y'all, this one right here gotta be worse than the mushroom woman. Like, don't weigh a baby in a dumpster? Understand what the reason.
She's 17, living in New Mexico, and she's about to make one of the darkest choices I've ever talked about. So one day, Alexis and her 16-year-old boyfriend, Steven, decide to try out this TikTok trend. You know, the one where you take a pregnancy test just for fun? And surprise, surprise, it comes back positive. So now, they're staring at each other like,
not one line. One line you do now.
Obviously, the right thing would be to tell their parents, but no, they're too scared. So instead, they decide, let's just ignore it. Like the problem's gonna magically disappear on its own. I guess they really...
Oh, so I guess they thought Jesus was gonna go and say, hey, y'all not pregnant, and they gonna ignore it for years, months, weeks, and nothing gonna happen.
Didn't pay attention during the birds and the bees talk, because that is not how babies work. They tell themselves, look, we'll just wait for the perfect moment to tell our parents, but that perfect moment never comes. And so in the meantime, Alexis starts hiding the whole pregnancy thing from her parents. She starts getting stomach cramps, back pain, missing school, missing work. And when her parents ask what's wrong, she just shrugs it off and says, oh, it's just stomach cramps, I'm fine. And they believe her. And at some point, Alexis and Steven get into this huge fight. And I don't know exactly what it was about, but...
If your girl is pregnant, or you pregnant, in 9 out of 10, you're not going to be able to hide from your parent. Your parent once did the birds and the bees. Your parent once had a kid, and that got to be you. So, hiding pregnancy from your parents, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not.
Things get so heated that Alexis's mom actually decided to call the cops on Steven. And my guess is, because of that fight, Alexis decides to break up with him. And when Steven asks about the baby, because remember, he still thinks she's pregnant, Alexis decides to make up this big lie and says that she had a miscarriage. And I'm sitting here like, Alexis, what is your plan here? Like, you do realize you're gonna have to give birth sooner or later, right? But anyways, now Steven thinks that this whole nightmare is over. Like, he doesn't have to stress about how he's gonna tell his family at 16.
I was about to say you could do plan B, but don't do plan B. Plan B is not the option you need to go with.
He got a girl pregnant. So months keep passing. She eventually turns 18, and Alexis decides she's gonna keep pushing through with this lie. And then one day, on January 7, 2022, something happens to her that she can't just ignore. Alexis wakes up in excruciating pain. She's clutching onto her stomach. She can barely breathe, and she runs to the bathroom. And that's when she realizes she's in labor. But instead of screaming for help, instead of waking up her parents, she she locks the door and decides she's going to do this alone. And I can only imagine she's in that bathroom in so much pain, just crying, sweating, trying to keep herself quiet so that way nobody can hear her. And after hours of this, she actually manages to give birth to a baby boy. Now this is the part where any sane person would grab the phone and call 911. But Alexis, she looks down at this newborn baby in her arms and decides she's not keeping him. So she wraps him in a towel, shoves him in the back seat of her car, and drives far, far away.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I gotta see this again. Oh my god.
Away from her home. She pulls up to the back of this department store. She gets out the car, grabs a garbage bag, and puts the baby inside and just tosses him into the dumpster like he's trash. Mind you, he is still alive and crying at this point. And then she hops back into her car and just drives off like nothing happened. About 6 hours go by and I would hope that she came back, but no. The baby is still in that dumpster, still alive and crying. And then, by some miracle, 3 friends who planned on going dumpster diving show up. So they're digging through the trash, hoping to find some expensive items, maybe.
Yo, I'm glad them 3 friends actually came. Cause if them 3 friends went dumpster diving, that baby would probably already be dead sooner than later.
To resell. But while they're looking through the bags of trash, they hear this kind of faint whining sound. At first they think it's an animal, maybe a puppy stuck in a bag. So they start ripping bags open, following the sound, until finally they find this one bag that's tied up really tightly. They tear it open, but the second they do, they stop. They're immediately like, what the hell? Because inside was the newborn baby boy that Alexis threw away. Like, how can you actually be so evil? He is freezing. He's barely alive, trying to cry, gasping for air, and they're just in total shock. So one of them, without even hesitating, scoops him up and holds him against their chest to keep him warm. Within minutes, paramedics arrive to the scene. They rush the baby to the hospital, and somehow, against every single odd, he survived. Like, if those 3 didn't show up when they did, that baby would have been gone.
I'm happy. I'm happy
they
they found him.
to check the back of the department store cameras to see who could have done something this inhumane. And not only do they see Alexis throwing her newborn in a dumpster, they also see her license plate. And to make things worse for her, when police checked the
they saw the license plate. She not smart. She gotta be the dumbest parent to ever try to hide anything.
Like, they find a whole bunch of items that literally say her name on it. So by that point, she's kind of screwed. Police quickly track down the car's license plate, and there's no way she'll get out of this situation. Her mom and dad open the door, and they are confused because everyone knows police don't just show up to your house to chit chat. So her parents naturally have their guard up, and they're like, what's going on? And that's when police straight up tells them, we are investigating your daughter Alexis for abandoning her newborn in a dumpster. Her parents are shocked. They're like, no, you must have the wrong person. Our daughter is not pregnant. But the cops did in fact come with receipts, and they showed them the video of Alexis.
So the cop came with the receipts, came with the everything that approved, and now y'all can't sit there and say, nah, my daughter isn't pregnant. Yo, the receipt, the paper, the everything that proof it right there.
At that point, there's no defending it, so they go inside the house and they wake up Alexis, who is sleeping. Like, how do you sleep after that? She's brought to the police station for questioning and basically tries to lie her way out of it. She starts crying.
How you gonna lie your way out of this?
I was pregnant yesterday. And then when she suddenly gave birth, she didn't know what to do. She's just a baby and panicked. Girl, we all know how that baby got there. You're grown.
Yeah, we all know.
But we all know. Did not hold long because they talked to Steven. And he told them everything. How he truly believed that she had a miscarriage and that she knew from the start. And with all of that, Alexis was immediately arrested, and in 2023 she was charged with attempted and abuse. But you guys, she had the nerve to plead not guilty. Obviously they didn't buy her sob story, and she got sentenced to
there's no way you're going to sit there and say, I'm plead not guilty to a crime that I didn't do, because there's no way I threw away the baby. There's no way I was pregnant. There's no way I sat there and lied to my whole entire family that I wasn't pregnant and hide it from everybody. So how could I be the one who's going to jail for it? Show
16 years. But here's the part that really pisses me off. 6 months later, half a year, Alexis gets released from prison.
What the fuck?
Why? Because her lawyer said she didn't get a fair trial. Please tell me why the court actually bought into that BS. So just like that, Alexis walks out of prison.
Who in the mind going to listen to that BS? That's some BS right there. You're sitting there telling me that she didn't get a fair trial? So y'all gonna let her get sent free in less than a month? Because not a fair... That's some BS right there.
Free while waiting for another trial. And now, fast forward like 2 years, it's 2025, and Shorty is still free. So she did what she did and only served 6 months in prison for it? That isn't even as long as a full-term pregnancy. Please tell me you're just as mad as I am. But let's end on a good note. The baby did make a full recovery, you guys. And Steven, his biological father, takes him in and names him Saul. I am genuinely so glad he met.
I'm truly glad that the father actually man up and actually wanted to keep the kid. Because if the father didn't man up, I don't know what would happen to that kid. I'm glad that kid got a family.
Anyways, important note, ladies. If you get pregnant, please talk to somebody. I'm being serious. Do not, and I repeat,
what she's saying is, woman, if y'all get pregnant, please talk to someone about it or tell someone that you're pregnant. Tell your parents first. Out anybody, always go to your parents first.
A mother poured boiling water all over her husband while he...
The baby mother, she worried with the baby. It was like there. The mushroom went right there. But boiling water? You're telling me you burn your husband in his sleep? What's wrong with the woman?
Slept, but when you hear why she did it, I wonder if you'll understand her rage. So back in 2007, Karina Smith is living in the UK with a man named Michael. They got together when she was like 21 years old, and Michael was 41. So just know, off this age gap, this story is not gonna get any better.
That's 19. That's 19 years.
Karina had 2 kids, one daughter and one son from a previous relationship, and then with Michael, they had a son together named Craig. And Craig is about 25 years old in the year 2007, and he had just gotten out of prison for a brutal assault charge. Now, everyone is super happy that he is finally free, but he does something that really dims the light on that happiness. He tells his mom, Karina, something that stuck to her mind like a splinter. He said, "Mom, he's a pet. He's touched me in really bad ways." And Karina, assuming that he's talking about the man that he assaulted, just brushes it aside. She didn't push or dig into what he's really trying to tell her, because by the next day, Greg seemed much happier. So she just kind of assumed maybe he was speaking irrationally. But this detail...
Yeah, right? He gotta be speaking irrationally. Like, it's not true. He's not speaking like, oh... he is actually a pedophile. Nah, he's just speaking in a mad tone. He got to.
Till right here, those words that he told her will come back and haunt Karina, because just days after that confession, Craig his own life. And man, did this leave Karina wondering, how did his life go so wrong? How did the boy that I raised end up here? Well, it turns out that all of those questions will be answered by July 2020, almost 14 years later. So it is a gorgeous summer day in the UK when Karina's daughter, we're just gonna call her Emma for story purposes, invites her over to her house. They're literally just talking, laughing, enjoying each other's company, as they should, when Karina's like, man, I am really enjoying my time. I don't want to leave yet. Let me call Michael and let him know that I'm gonna stay just for a few extra hours. So she beep boop boop Michael's number and tells him, hey honey, I'm gonna stay over at Emma's house a little while longer. We're honestly having a great time. I don't want to leave yet. But for some reason, he is not happy about that, like at all. He's telling,
why are you not happy? Like, your wife is not doing anything wrong, and you upset because she want to stay not too long, for like a day or two, And you're mad about that?
Karina, for what? I told you to get home, so let's go. And Emma is sitting there looking at her mom's face on the phone, and she can just tell that this call isn't going very well. Like, she's starting to pick up on all of the tension that's going on in the air, and now she can hear it in her mom's voice. Oh, no, honey, it's not like that. Yes, I know. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, have you ever seen someone on a phone call and you know that they're getting screamed at on the other end of the line? Yeah, that's this right here. And for some reason, this really became the cherry on top for Emma's anger. I'm guessing that after years of keeping her mouth shut and seeing how badly Michael treats her mom, this was her one chance to speak up. So either during or after the call, I'm not sure which one, Emma looks at her mom's face and says, ask him what he did, or I'll tell you myself. And Karina's like,
oh, so you want to know, like, what he did or what your mom didn't? Because it don't make no sense for him to yell at you when your mom said you will stay at her house for a while.
What? What are you talking about? What did he do? Why has there been this weird secret tension going on? Because in her shoes, this isn't the first time that her kids have tried hinting something at her. And rather than coming clean about it, they always just had this weird energy between the kids and Michael. But this time, Karina has had enough of the hints. She just looks at her daughter and says, tell me, just tell me. Whatever it is, I'll listen, but I cannot keep doing this. And that is when Emma just breaks. She starts crying, shaking, barely even able to get the words out, but she manages. And that's when she tells her mom, Michael, my stepdad, your husband, has been abusing me ever since I was a child. And not just me, he was also abusing Craig too for years. And the room just goes silent. Karina goes into shock. Her eyes don't blink. She forgot to breathe. I mean, her world just broke. So she starts asking questions like, when? Why? Where was I? Why didn't you tell me? And Emma is struggling just to get through the first question. She's telling her mom it was so bad, so horrific, that she really didn't want to retell the details. But by the end of the conversation, Emma told Karina just enough to understand one thing. That moment with Craig back in 2017 when he said, Mom, he's a pet. It all made sense now. He wasn't talking about...
It all made sense. But what you were talking about?
Some random man. He was talking about Michael, his own father. Oh my god, just thinking about that is making my blood boil, because he wanted someone to believe him so badly. And I can't even begin to imagine Karina's emotions. She must have been livid, fuming with anger, and absolutely enraged at what he had been doing to her children. And most of all, so disappointed that his controlling behavior led her to not be able to see what's been going on clear as day. Now, immediately after, Karina storms out of Emma's house, getting ready to go tell the police everything. But Emma grabs her arm and says, Mom, no, we can't do that. They won't believe us. And Karina, probably so confused, is like, then what do you want to do? How do you expect me to go back home to that monster?
Yeah, I agree with you. How you expect her to go back to that monster, that pedophile, the one who want pedophile your own father? Like, come on.
And that's when Emma tells her, okay, I have an idea. Let me and Michael take a lie detector test. That'll prove that I'm telling the truth, and police can use that as evidence against him. So they sit back down inside the house. They make an appointment for the test, and Karina goes back home at around 9:30 that same night. And I can only assume that when she entered her house, just the sight of that creature made her want to throw hands. But I'm speaking too soon, so let me just tell you what she does next. Karina decides to call her other son, and while breaking down into tears, telling him exactly what Emma said, he didn't listen. Instead, he just shuts it down immediately and says, no, I don't believe you. She's gotta be lying. And I guess she didn't take this very well, so she hangs up the phone and calls Emma and says, sweetie, I told your brother, but he says that he doesn't believe it. And Emma gets mad. She's telling her mom, why would you tell him about that? I told you to keep it quiet until we can have...
Yeah, I can see why she got mad.
solid proof. And Corinna just apologizes. She hangs up the call, and less than an hour later, everything changes. Corinna's face went from sad, heartbroken, teary-eyed to the most cold, serious, empty stare you've ever seen. Like something inside her just shut off. She wasn't crying anymore. She wasn't shaking. She just had tunnel vision. Because at around midnight, while Michael is sleeping and the whole house is quiet, her thoughts took over. And so she walks to her kitchen, grabs a cooking pot, and starts dumping sugar into it. 3 whole bags of sugar, to be specific. Then she turns the stove on, puts the pot on top, and pours some water into the mix, and just lets it boil. For 13 minutes, Corinna is standing in front of her stove, just stirring and stirring and stirring the pot until the sugar dissolves into this thick, boiling hot mixture. Then she picks up the pot, and I can imagine that it's really heavy and it's slushing back and forth.
Do y'all think she probably do a dangerous thing and actually do what I think and pour it on him? I don't think she's going to do that. Mixture, I don't think so.
And she walks through the house. She reaches Michael's bedroom and she pushes the door open very, very slowly, making sure not to wake him up. And she sees him lying there asleep like a little baby. But the whole time she's thinking, wow, that is the man that destroyed my children. The man that I trusted. The man that I loved. And then she starts tilting the pot right over his body, pouring this boiling sugary syrup all over his skin. And this man screams so loud that the birds outside probably flew away. And he jumps out of bed, trying to get away from whatever.
So even the birds outside flew. Damn. Oh, hey. Even if he's not dead, he should go to jail for doing what he did.
Whatever's burning him, but the sugar is so thick that it clings onto his skin. I mean, you could literally smell the skin burning off of him. But Corinna does not stop pouring it.
That's the reason why she poured sugar in a boiling pot of water.
So the pot is empty. And once it's all out, she finally realizes what she just did. And she completely starts panicking. While Michael is actively screaming in agony, she throws the bucket on the ground, runs outside the house, and starts banging on her neighbor's door. She's sobbing with so much fear, telling her neighbor, I did something horrible. Oh my gosh, I think I've killed him. And obviously, they call 911. They send over an ambulance. And the other shock of those paramedics' faces when they saw the condition that Michael was in, it was truly disturbing. Corinna immediately gets arrested, and when
this is the reason why I can't be a cop or be a paramedic. Because if I have been a paramedic or a cop, I have to see bodies like that, dead bodies. I have to be going there trying to save I don't mind saving people's life, but seeing that, I couldn't. I swear to God, my stomach will be boiling up inside and make me want to throw up every time seeing that.
Police ask her, did you do this? She completely admitted, yes, I did, in the most distressed way possible. So as they stuff her into the back seat of the police car, you can see paramedics wheeling Michael's severely burned body into the ambulance and straight to the hospital. And after doing a full examinations, doctors can clearly see that 36% of his body was covered in burns. And Michael is 81 years old at this point. He's an old man, so for the next month, he basically hung by a single thread of life. And by August 19th, Michael Baines passed away. Meanwhile, Corinna was put into custody, and during her trial, the judge looks at her and says, look, I understand the family.
It doesn't matter how old you is, boiling water can definitely kill you. Depending on how long you had that water settle, it could kill you, right? But you could survive if it was just water. Well, the only reason why he died is because of the sugar. The sugar was so thick, and with that water, the water thickening up that sugar, so that sugar could latch on his skin and stay on it, burning him alive instantly.
History. I understand what you believe, but it does not excuse anything that you did. This does not justify taking a life.
It don't justify what you
by
did too.
Your husband, you destroyed any chance of finding out the truth. We will never know if you truly affected your children. And because she deliberately took the time to mix sugar and water into a boil, the court believed that she designed it to cause him suffering. And so they sentenced Corinna to life in prison. But I have to ask, is this a valid...
So basically, she's gonna die in prison. Because what I heard and know is when you get sent to life in prison, that means you get sent to life. No freedom, no chance of even coming out of jail. Like, you literally die in jail. Like, your deathbed, it already jail your deathbed right there.
Sentence for what she did, or did she just take justice into her own hands? Let me know. As always, I love you guys.
If she did took justice in her hand, or did she did a murder crime that she didn't even mean to do. There's two different reasons why she did what she did. Yo, if that video was wild, you haven't seen anything yet. I put my funniest reaction right here in this playlist, and YouTube thinks you will love this special video next. Click one of those, hit the sub button if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.